right, we are here live, right in the studio. Let me greet every last one of you. Yeah, yeah, we are in here. We're in here live. We are getting ready for the talk show, Prison Talk Show. And certainly we're happy to have every last one of you to join us on tonight as we dig into this case with DeAndre Dunn down in Manning County. Down there in Manning County, Branton, Florida. Yeah, certainly we are down there. We are at work. We got eyes and ears on the grounds, and we've spoken with the court agent. We've spoken with the court-appointed attorney's office as well, and we found out some quite interesting information here. We have, and I want to say again, let me say good evening to all of you that are joining us and will be joining us at a later time. This case is about a young man by DeAndre Dunn down in Manning County, Branton, Florida, where he's been railroaded into prison wrongfully, giving him life without parole, which is absolutely insane and wrong. There was an incident that happened where a young lady got killed. She happened to not be the skin tone of yours and ours, but she's considered to be a Caucasian. Most of you learned to call them white people. There's no such thing as white people. They are Caucasian. The word white was taught into history of superior royalty, and black was taught to be the dirt and the scum of the earth. Down there in this Branton, Florida, it's just about as worse as Gainesville, Florida, where Fannie Taylor said it was a nigger, I tell you. Then they found out that she was never raped by a Negro man, a black man, if you want to use the word, but I don't use the word black. I use the word Negro because we are not of color. We are human. And we are Negroes, and as a descendant of Africa, our Hebrews and Jewish, that's who we originally bred from. I don't want to get into history. I want to stick with the topic tonight with DeAndre Dunn. He was down there, and he was dating this Caucasian young lady. I don't want to call her name. She has been deceased. Well, she's deceased now. We don't want to hurt her name any further than what it is. We don't want to defame the family at any cost. We don't want to cause when a person dies, whether it's justified or not justified, that's death. Somebody lost a loved one. I don't care who we are. At that point, we should become more merciful and sorrowful. But at the same time, we should have the truth put in our hand. If someone did not commit such heinous crime, we need to address it. We need to get it together. And we need to pull together as a Negro community. Because next time it could be your child. Next time it will be your child. I said in the last video before we get to digging in this deeper, how many of our children gonna have to die before they're not for sale? I don't have a problem with being crump. I like being crump a lot. But how many of you gonna get the families paid off and go to the next one that's a victim? When is our children gonna be stopped getting killed over nonsense and railroaded over nonsense? And how many times they gonna pay our families off for our children? Our children is not for sale. That's a generation that's being killed and in prison wrongfully. And you got people in prison that's in prison so long they done did 2 and 3 life sentences and still got them locked up. This judiciary system in the United States need a rude awakening. And we must start speaking up for ourselves. I look at Dr. Martin Luther King. He spoke up. And look where we are today because he spoke up. And we all continue to call the Black History every February. But we're no better than these bad actors here down in Branton. We're killing each other off, hurting one another, robbing and stealing. It's time to stand up. It's time to stick together. It's time to walk together. Because we are somebody. We are people. And we are not, despite of the bad actors, all of us not bad. We're good people. So let's get this case on the road as I continue to talk. Down in Florida, a young man was accused of murder. Let me just say this part to you. Murder. Without any fragment of blood on his clothes, gunpowder on his hands or his clothes, not even a gun mentioned in either one of these cases here. I want to be clear. Now that we have found out some new news, and I'm going to break that with you in just a few moments. I haven't even shared this with the family yet, and they're hearing this firsthand while we're live at this moment shortly. This young man has no history of domestic violence. We found out something about an officer in Homer who have blastically named a bunch of young Negro men down there in Homer, Louisiana, to give them a felony. Once they give you a felony, they mark you, and after they mark you, then they proceed to do further damage to you to remove you, to damage your character, keep you from voting, and all of the above. This young man is not a troublesome child. We heard from the pastor last week that he's a good young man. He attended church, stayed in church, and he did the necessary things to stay out of trouble. This young man was working not one, not two, but 3 jobs in Florida. A man that's working don't get in trouble. A young man that's trying to do right is a working young man. A young man who he is trying to make a better life for himself works. He don't sell dope. He don't sell no type of drugs. He don't get into any type of bad events. This event concurred and happened in the home that him and the young lady shared together. We got other paperwork that are saying that he was homeless and the whole time he was living there. We come to find out that the officer lived across the street from the couple when they heard the gunshot. So he knew right where to go to. Didn't see the young man leave the house, just said this young man did it. Which is DeAndre and the officer that lived across the street had a relationship. They was talking about several things in the community, several things. So how is his testimony credible to the court system? You can't do that. Now we find out tonight, well, actually yesterday, that 2 of the officers are under federal indictment. Yes, one is named Jason Harchick. Now, they sent me this file. They didn't want me to have it, but I'm going to hold it up so I can let y'all see how blurry it is. But maybe you can see the material here. His name is Jason. If you can see that name right there, coming straight forward to you, Hartrick. Now, this thing was locked, and we had to get it unlocked to get it. He's under federal indictment in another county as a police officer for doing something he had no business doing. We're waiting to get the rest of this paperwork to bring it back in, but this was one of the witnesses that say he did it. There is another officer by the name of, and I'm going through my paperwork here. Let me see here. I'm so sorry. I got all this paperwork kind of construed up here. Barry. That's his first name, Barry. He's another one that spoke against this young man, and he's under indictment right there in Branton County Police Department for corruption. Now, I want to make this clear. We got two officers that is under indictment that's supposed to be credibility witness of this. Another officer who lives across the street from the couple and find out that him and DeAndre had a great relationship, or rather communicated with each other in the opening, because they live in the same community. The only witness that was in the house at the time was a young little girl. All of a sudden, you got 8 to 9 witnesses that came Johnny come late and never was in the house or around the house. They assumed this young man did it. DeAndre has not released a statement. He has not released a concern of this matter. He have not said anything to anyone. This prosecutor did not even ask for a plea deal. This Bram, oh my God, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, young lady. Gonna tell this young man, take the 20 years. Take the 20 years. You can do that because you young enough to do it. Now, what kind of attorney would tell a young man to do such? Take 20 years. You can do it and you young enough to do it. We're doing a deep search on her right now. How many young Negro men have she encouraged to take a plea deal and go to prison? How many of our young men have been put in prison all over the United States off of, if you just plead guilty to this, you won't do any jail time, or you'll do a very little amount of jail time and you'll get out. And because we don't want to be in prison, because we don't want to get in trouble, we'll go ahead on and plead to something that we did not do just to get this mess over with. I want to say to us, especially the Negro women, this is why our homes are lacking of control, because of the absence of the father. When the father is missing, this is what the government waits on, to take your young sons and your daughters and put them in handcuffs, beat them, kill them, or throw them in jail for the rest of their life. You must become you must become strongly understanding what you're doing if you're reacting off of anger. Because you want to see this happen, because you want control. You're not just killing the father off, but you are literally killing your own children off. And when that happens, ladies and gentlemen, the family is corrupt. This is why we have children up and down the street being railroaded into prison, shot down by cops, and all sort of behavior, because the father has been removed from the household so that most of the women can get food stamp welfare and live on housing. I'm going to keep it plain and simple with you tonight. And this is a clear case of what's going on down there in Florida. Many of you know down there in Florida, you hear me? Down there in Florida, that there's the area that is known for killing off Negro men and family members. It was a nigger, Fannie Taylor said, that did it, and he did not do it. And in this case, they're saying to DeAndre Dunn, because you are a nigger and you down there in our county, here in Florida, we're going to make a lesson out of you for fooling with our white women. This is what we're dealing with. I'm not going to stand down. I'm going to hold fast. I'm going to hold strong to this. I'm going to hold tight to this because this is what clear case. No gun. I want to repeat again. No gun. The gun that they claim they found was 2 years later. And it is not even in any court documents of a gun. What caliber it was, come on. What type of gun it was, nothing. We had a professional gun handler ready to handle this case to deal with it, and we go through the file, and there is no gun on file, not even at hand. No type of gun, no nothing. The gun was discovered 2 years later out of the river that they claim they seen him coming from. There is no proof that DeAndre went to a lake. And who saw him throw it in lake? Where are the witnesses to that? We don't have none of that, and there is none of that in the file of the witnesses that say that they saw him throw it in the lake. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a clear case of railroad. No blood, no gunpowder, no gun. And trying to keep the autopsy report under wraps. We're dealing with that now, fighting to get the autopsy report and have to go through the DA's office. Next week, we're going to go deep because I'm going to add in there his name, which I got it, but I have to be careful how I handle it because it can come back and strike against us. But he is in full control of this information. And he can either release it or we're going to get a federal court judge to make him release it. We want the autopsy report. When we called for the autopsy report, the lady said homicide. She did not say murder. This came from the coroner's office. She said homicide, ladies and gentlemen, not murder. If you know anything about homicide, that means death took place and it's undiscovered how it took place and who did it. That's what homicide means in investigation mode. Murder means the person died from the hands of someone who did it. And they have the person of the accuser in custody. That's when it's murder. But the autopsy report says homicide. It did not say murder. In fact, if I was to go into details about the homicide, it doesn't say how it was done, what it was done with, and where it was done at. Now, the sister, and I'm hoping that she's hearing me tonight, or I'm going to give her a phone call. I want those clothes because we are now going to send them to the federal court, do a court order down there, and they're going to be used here in Texas first to be scanned through, to be looked for any fiber, any weapon, any blood, what caliber gunpowder was used to hurt this young lady and cause death, or she says she's here. We want the clothes because we're going to send them down here through the Texas Ranger, through our office down here, and have those clothes checked for any such. They never checked this young man's hand for gunpowder. They never checked this young man's hand for anything. Ladies and gentlemen, this young boy is being railroaded into 30 years without parole. What would you do if it was your son? What would you do if it was your brother? What would you do if it was your daughter? What would you do if it was your nephew? Come on. Tell me what you would do. We love to criticize one another. But let's get involved. Let's get involved. Do y'all hear me? Let's get involved. Let's get involved. I need you to tag, like, and share this video with as many people that you can. Share, tag, and like it because it could be you, It could be your son. It could be any one of your nephews, uncles, aunts, anyone. You need to get involved. I am petitioning you to get involved to help this family get justice for their son. This is a young, strong young man working 2 and 3 jobs to take care of himself, not asking nobody for a handout, and you going to cause him to be put in prison for murder. And there is no evidence that says he committed murder. I'm coming out and helping. I'm stepping out. I'm using this very television station, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV. I'm using our local channel 38 to get this message out. Using Facebook as a role to get this message out. When we, and I like it, I like what I'm finna say because I remember a joke, and it was funny, but it wasn't funny, by Bernie Mac. Say there were 3 men. There was a Caucasian man, there was a Negro man, and there was an Hispanic man. And he asked the question. Some of y'all gonna laugh at this, and that's fine. We're gonna laugh at this. I'm gonna laugh at it. Then he said, if you can ask Saint Nicholas one question to get into glory, to get into heaven, and if he can't answer it, then you can get in. The Hispanic man said, we're going to get some more tortillas made on another style. St. Nicholas said, yeah, they're going to be made before you even, can be around to see it. Going on to hell where you going, because you can't get in here. Then the Caucasian man asks, is this punk rock band, I forget the name of the punk rock band, he asked him if they going to come out with a new record. St. Nick said, yep, they're going to come out with 3 or 4 more. You can go on because you can't get into heaven either. And the Negro man asked the question, is we going to ever, as a Negro people, stick together, be together, and walk and hold hands together and help each other without backbiting and stabbing? St. Nick said, open up the gate. In other words, St. Nick could even answer the question. I don't know. So I'm appealing tonight. When are we going to get together? This is a great place to start. Let's get into it. I've been asked to become an activist in the community. They're trying to reward me with the certificates and all of that. It's been going on. They've been trying to make me an activist in the community. I'm considering it now because we need help. We need help. I love the church. But when is the church going to help us? We go to church Sunday after Sunday, and we got the week, we give our tithes, we give our offering. When is the church going to give back? I'm telling you, here, right now, we are going to be a help to this family. They're in Homer, Louisiana. He's down there in Branton, Florida, and Manatee County. We're going to help this family. I'm going to ride this. Some of y'all may see it later, and now I'm going to ride it and ride it and ride it and ride it. I'm going to ride it till I can't ride no more. I'm going to ride the wheels off this because we need to help our young people. We need to help out. We need to encourage them. They out here willing and kneeling and nailing, whatever they call it, all over the place, but they don't have any guidance. But we're quick to criticize them. Yeah, we can do that. We can tear them down, but when are we going to help them? Let's help them out of this mess they in. Because once we show them that we love them and help them, then we're now eligible for them to reach back and tell someone else that they love them and help them too, like their own kids. Nothing from nothing, folks. Leave nothing. It's imperative, it's important that you help this young man, DeAndre Dunn. I've never seen such a construed case in all my life. There is no evidence against this young man. None. No evidence against him. And you lock him up for 30 years without parole? Now, we got some bad acting children. Some of them need to go to jail and they need to disciplinary. But I don't care even if they go to prison. You should never leave your family without. Love hides a multitude of sin. I'm going to say that one more time. Love hides a multitude of sin. Hate will expose and denounce. Tonight I ask the famous question to you. Do you love them? Do you love your family members? Or do you hate them? Do you denounce them? Because that's hate. Do you lift them up in spite of their wrong? Because we all done wrong. I don't care who you are. We all done wrong. But thank God for Jesus. He said he will never leave us nor forsake us. And we are the same to have the same mind that Christ Jesus had. How could you say you love one when you don't even help them? How could you say you're there for them and you won't even give them a glass of water? You won't clothe them. They're hungry and you won't take care of them. You won't do right. Right here in this county, two corrupt officers, Jason and Barry, testified against this young man, and they are under federal indictment and other counties where they were police officers in that done wrong. So what are they doing down in them little sticks, going from one county to another county, bothering the Negro community? I'm going to have the story next Saturday on what they are being indicted of and what they done. I'm going to have the full name. I got the full name. But I'm going to have everything, including their pictures. And I'm going to post it live right here on the show. We're going to get to the bottom of this thing. We're going to get to the bottom of it. If he was guilty, y'all know me out there in the TV land and in the radio and all of that in the church. Y'all know I'll be the first one to tell you he's guilty. But I'm telling you, the young man is not guilty. He's not guilty of murder. He didn't do it. He did not do it. He did not do it. The family is setting up a GoFundMe account. You can send your help through finances, or you can send your help with information. We just want you to get involved. If we start here, when your child get hung up, we'll all be there for you. Yeah, we will. We'll be there for you. You'll be able to call my number. You'll be able to say to me, my son is in trouble. Help me. And we'll come to your rescue. And we'll come see about you. We'll come there for you. We'll make ways for you. We'll open up the doors for you. Who is my brothers and sisters? The one who does the will of my Father. I'm my brothers and sisters' keeper. I'm not going to let this young man be railroaded into 30 years without parole. Now, they trying to bring up a gun charge. Where is the gun? And the gun you found 2 years ago, they trying to take him to court Monday on the 3rd. Or that may be Tuesday or Wednesday next week. On the 3rd, they're trying to carry this young man to court and try him against a gun that they found 2 years later. And had to call down there and speak with the head of the Office of Court-Appointed Attorney to make sure that Bram get the paperwork done and in that courtroom so he can have a real appeal. Because if you know anything about the law, anything after the 30 days, they'll try to make that case go in and can't be appealed. The judge signed the paperwork late on the 14th. He got sentenced on the 4th. The judge signed the paperwork 10 days later. This is what this court-appointed attorney told me out of her own mouth. They had to get the paperwork together. What kind of paperwork you had to get together? Court minutes has no business being altered. What was said and what was done should not be altered. It should be simply printed up and at the judge's desk. It takes 10 days for a district judge to sign some paperwork. I got a problem with that. And thank God he didn't sign no paperwork. Everything that we got that is showing that he has refused to sign anything. So you can't say you can find him guilty. So now they're down there trying to get him to plea bargain on the deal of the gun in order to try to make it stick with the murder. So if he plea bargain with the gun, then we got him and say, okay, he's guilty of the murder because of the gun. But there is no gun. No gun in the court paperwork. There is no gun in nothing. There is no gun nowhere to be found in this case, y'all. Not one gun. We got an expert that has a gun, says just get to me and let me know the gun, and I'll show you how the gun works and what it can do. No gun found and none of the paperwork. All of a sudden, they come up with a gun 2 years later that's been underwater, ladies and gentlemen, thrown beside another gun, which means the only way you can throw a gun in that area, you must have been throwing something else in there first. So whoever put the gun in that area, put another gun in there too. I'm talking about dirty cops, y'all. How in the world y'all get all this information so quick and build a case? And it was only one little child that was in the house, and she was in her bedroom. She did not know nothing until she heard a gunshot. She didn't see him leave the house. So who else was in that house? Who handed the child the gun? Who did it? We're going to get to the bottom of it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to the bottom of it. I need your help. If you're in the Florida Bradenton area, call 832-408-8404. Tell me what you know. Tell us what you know. I need to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Our people is on ground working right now. They're moving. We're getting all kind of information. And the courts down there in the capital, Tallahassee, done got involved. They want to know some answers. They're pulling certain paperwork up. We want to know, Judge White, how did you let this happen in your courtroom? Are you in cahoots with the DA? Because we done found out that little court-appointed attorney, Broham, has the skin tone of us, but working to railroad her own color-skinned people, as y'all would say, her own lookalike skin tone. She's down there working with them. I spoke with her briefly on the phone and hung up on her because of her attitude. Nasty little lady. I'm going to call her full name and post her picture up next Saturday. I'm going to have so much next Saturday, I promise y'all. And we're going to run the wheels off. This going to air every time you look around. Go to Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, Facebook. Go to YouTube. We're going to run the wheels off of it until y'all get involved. Y'all going to get involved. We want you to get involved. And if you ain't getting involved, I want to make it clear to you, don't call my number for help. Because if you can't help someone else, we're not going to help you. I'm just going to keep it real. Yes, I'm the bishop. Yes, I'm the pastor. Yes, I am. But don't call me when you get in trouble. If you can't help somebody else to help somebody. You selfish and you deserve whatever comes to you. Don't call my phone. And I mean just what I say. Get involved. Let's help this young man make it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's my time. I love you guys. Next week, I got some information for y'all. I promise you, I got some information for y'all. I'm talking about pictures, paperwork, documents. I got something for you. Woo, I got a list. I promise you. Next time, like, share, and tag this. Send this out to everybody. Let them view it. Let them view it. This young man, DeAndre Dunn, down in Manning County, Brenton, Florida. could be my son. Any one of my sons. It could be him. I'm not going to let it happen. No, 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 no. I'm going to war with this one. I'm asking you to come go to war with me. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Y'all be sweet. Y'all be strong and be faithful. Remember, if you're having any trouble with your kids and law being in trouble, railroad, and need a spokesman for you, call me. I'm in the Houston area. Call me, 832-408-8404. If you're out of state, still call me. I got people's on ground and I'll work it. I promise you we'll get results. All right, we'll talk to you at a later time. Y'all be sweet and we gone.